Welcome everyone to another edition of 4D, Def's Daily Dose of Dota. I'm your host, Michael Deficit Plumley. Today, it's Monday, November 10th, and we're doing an episode on Clockwerk. It's an offlane episode, a role position that I'm looking to play more of, looking to increase my heroes that I use, more than just Darkseer, more than just Centaur. There's not a lot of heroes that work great in the offlane. Sometimes you can be matched up against multiple people, one person, two person, sometimes three, but a couple heroes excel at it. We're going to look at how TongFu.uuu3's, that's his name, handles an offlane Clockwerk today. This is episode 19, and our game today comes from the D2L Season 5. A game between TongFu and DK. Not the DK we're used to seeing, the DK in last year's International. They've been reformed. No one is returning from the International, where they had great success. But they're a rebuilding team, and they've had a fair amount of success. Will they be able to defeat TongFu? A veteran name in the Chinese scene, but also sporting some new players. To start off today, I want to go over to the split view and just look at the combination of spells that Clockwerk has. So hopping over into this, I have Clockwerk's information pulled up in my spreadsheet that I use to analyze the heroes. And what I wanted to just focus in on today was one ability in particular, that being Battery Assault. It's the Q ability. It's the first ability. You know it as that one that kind of looks like a blown up rock. Or if you're familiar playing against Clockwerk, it's that ability that made it so you couldn't cast any spells and then you died. Well, the stun, as we go over to this page, 0.1 second, but that's not really what I wanted to focus on. What I wanted to focus on was the amount of damage it does. When you max it out to rank 4, it does upwards of 1200 damage, I believe, pre-mitigation. And if you see that here on the chart, that's this red slice of the pie chart. In an average fight where Clockwerk comes to gank someone, an average could be close to 50% of his damage. You see it here. Auto-attacking a fair amount of his damage, as well as hookshot, another 225 damage, post-magic resistance at rank 3. But that Battery Assault does a lot of damage. It's the one that sounds like shrapnel, if you're familiar to dying to it in-game. It has a bit of a rinky-dinky sound and not a lot of spell animation, but it does a lot of damage. We're going to be focusing on when he uses that. When he also uses the Rocket Flare, which much lower cooldown, but not as significant damage-wise. We're going to see how he uses that to scout, whether it be Roshan or ganks coming his way. And other than that, we're going to hopefully see him get the Aghanim Scepter for Clockwerk. We can go to it here on the wiki, but you'll see it increases or decreases the cooldown from 40 seconds down to 12 seconds. One of the best Aghanim Scepters in the game. Hookshot being such an insane range, 3000 cast range, which is basically completely off the screen, as we're going to focus on that while we're watching the game. But hopefully we'll be able to see that. Hopefully we'll be able to see a lot of good setups. Or maybe he'll just die 7 or 8 times in a row. That can happen in the offlane. Let's hop into the game and see who he's matched up against. I always like to pause it right before the 5th picks come out in these compositions. We saw the Clockwerk come out pretty early for TongFu. It's going to give excellent initiation tool against someone like a Bat Rider, someone like a Death Prophet. Excellent way to close the gap. And they followed up with a Zeus pick. Great global ability to just add in a little extra damage when they need to finish someone off. A little bit of a synergy with the Ancient Seal from Skywrath Mage, increased magic damage. So TongFu with the 2 supports, you see that they opened up 2 intelligence heroes. They added on a Zeus. He's probably going to be mid. Could use one more, maybe an agility hero to finish things out. And likewise, for DK, they have their 3 intelligence heroes. Mirana, who's going to be supporting. Mirana, Shadow Demon, very common. And there's your agility hero coming out for TongFu. A Slark, He's going to be your hard carry. Much more durable as the game goes on relative to someone like Clockwerk or Zeus, of course. DK are actually lacking a strength hero. Would leave them pretty low HP across the board. Death Prophet, Batrider, Shadow Demon, all very anemic in the HP department. Same could be said for Murata.
10 seconds remaining.
So we'll probably see a strength hero come out from them just to be able to sit on the front lines and hopefully tank up some of the damage that this TongFu squad is capable of dishing out.
Lycan.
It is a Lycan. Strength hero. Also a hard carry. Has quite a bit of mobility. And matches up against Slark pretty well. We'll see how they fare as we jump into this game. We're going to make the mini-map a little bigger. Oh, there we go. It already is. Alright.
Prepare for battle.
Just looking at the compositions of lanes here. We see Skywrath and Ogre wandering out to the bottom lane. They will probably complete a tri-lane with Slark getting the majority of the farm. Zeus, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be with the mid lane, one pooled Tango. And Clockwerk in the off lane. Starting out with the power cogs. He has a Tango, one Observer Ward given to him by the Ogre Magi, a Stout Shield, and a Clarity Potion. DK roaming together at the start with Arrow and Disruption. They have a very good level 1 fight, using their aggression to get down some wards in the jungle. Very close to this Slark, passing by like ships in the night. Slark sees them again, he'll be backing up. I'm not sure they saw him. They do now under the ward, but there's 22 seconds left. Shadow Demon not able to get a disruption off on anyone, so they'll have to be falling back. It looks like your Batrider will be in the opposing team's offlane. That'll be a hero for another daily. This Murata and Shadow Demon duo roaming together, as they will for most of the game. Your Death Prophet is mid, and in the easy lane will be the Lycan. He will be matched up against your Clockwerk. We see Clockwerk already blocking these creeps out of the start. Very crucial if you're not going to be contesting one of the runes. Manages to catch most of the creeps. Cogs is very low mana, it's only 50 mana at rank 1, and that's just going to delay the creeps a little bit. Make it so instead of the equilibrium being here, it could be a little closer to the tower. Make it a little safer for him.
First blood.
Quick first blood coming out in mid.
By right,
but we're focusing on the off lane today. Clockwerk by himself up here. He has the Stout Shield, just fighting for last hits.
Denied.
Speaking of which, he Lycan getting a deny there. Pretty good position for the first creep wave. He's within spitting distance of his tower. He should feel pretty safe here.
No.
Gets a deny for himself as well. Has a couple last hits already. Sometimes we can go to the player perspective. I like to see the first item that they're going to be building. Looks like he's going to go for the boots first. But we see cogs being used again just to get a little damage. Get a little extra damage, another creep hit done. Very low mana. But it does 80 damage to potentially a multitude of units with all of the cogs. They only fire once, but they can each hit one creep or hero, Lycan in this case. Also 315 move speed, so he is quite mobile, but low armor at the start. We see only 12 physical resistance. Lycan a little higher at 18. So Clockwerk just focusing on these last hits. He's not worrying about his Ogre Magi brethren about to die in bottom lane. Once again, just using the cogs to zone. You can see that one was powered down. I actually want to show that. Typically the animation changes. We can see this one has already triggered someone on this particular creep as it pushes it in a angle perpendicular to the cog. So it should change color and be noticeably different from this one. And there you go. You see this particular model, not the default model, but this particular model is no longer lit up. Interesting set. Mostly I would just get this for the cogs. Only 5 seconds at rank 1. Now he's level 3. Picking up a point in Rocket Flare. That'll give him another good way to last hit, as well as an excellent way to scout. And that Battery Assault, which as we mentioned is a stun and a significant amount of damage. But he's just sitting in lane. He has a bottle now. Picked that up at the side shop. Starting to contest a little more for last hits. Being sure to deny as well. You'll see that even as an offlane, he's actually tops on last hits right now. Matching up very well against this Lycan, who doesn't have a lot of sustainability or utility in lane early. Then again, most hard carries do not. We see him using the cogs again, actually trapping Lycan. He then uses Battery Assault and getting a Rocket Flare for good measure. And he forces Lycan very low, down to 33% of his life. So Clockwerk will trigger that clarity that he picked up at the beginning of the game. And now he has his boots. But the wave's pushed out to the tower, so he's just going to sit back, stay in experience range for a little bit.
Here.
And he uses another cog, or pardon me, another Rocket Flare to scout. He also has this ward that will see not only if the camp is pulled, but if there's any rotations coming from the river.
Denied.
He has a siege creep here, so he's pushing up pretty far. But with the opponent's siege creep as well as wolves coming out, he'll be forced back. He may be watching this fight in mid. Zeus getting very low, but he has an Invis Rune. The fight happening here, so we see Clockwerk start to back up a little bit. Lycan, dangerously low, only 300 HP, but with Skywrath Mage rotating in, that will be the Lycan forced back first. And this ward is already doing work. Scouting out a Mirana in the jungle. Very deadly hero to be sitting out of vision. An arrow coming his way is the bane of the offlaner.
Homing in.
We see him using a rocket to get another last hit, staying very competitive. Just as much, in case he's first now on last hits. Coming back in lane with his creep wave and being pretty fearless now. He has 3 points in Battery Assault, dealing significant damage if he can actually catch someone inside a power cog.
Not on
And he no longer sees the Mirana, but he suspects she's still nearby. So he's smartly able to slip away. He also sees the Shadow Demon transition. This is actually a great ward spot. I'll have to use it a little more. I typically will put one here, or right here is another good spot. Speaking of wards, DK putting their own ward to try and get more vision of the offlane. Lycan had probably communicated that he's having a really tough time. Disruption coming out on Clockwerk. An arrow hitting as well.
Radiant's
And he will
middle
fall,
tower is under attack.
being punished for attempting to rotate for that 6-minute rune. Wasn't level 6 yet either. But he's done very well. Being very
Dire's
successful in
bottom
his
tower
lane.
is under attack.
And it's only a short respawn timer. Since it's a game, even if you die, you'll be back. And you see the purple here, meaning our purple hero Clockwerk porting back into lane. Just trying to focus on more last hits, another 48 gold going his way. Missing that. Well, he actually got that one. 150 gold very quickly. He has a belt of strength now. Might be working towards power treads. But he's done a great job so far, only dying once, though that is large part because he's matched up one-on-one right now against a Lycan, who's going to be working on that Vladimir Zora. And the two roaming supports have not come his way yet. But he would be vulnerable. That ward he placed down early is gone. So instead he chooses to rotate. He is level 6 now, and we can just look at the range of this power shot. We see the small range of rocket flare, or battery assault rather. However, hook shot is halfway across the screen. So he's able to look forward and look for an opportunity. He's at full mana. He can get a full salvo of spells off. Rank 3 on that battery assault. But the Lycan backs up, and he just continues to farm, using the rocket flare to get another last hit there. 30 last hits. He's having much success, and probably will be completing his power tread soon.
Tower is under attack.
And he's also very difficult to gank at this point. Other than an arrow catching him out, he can always power cog. An excellent de-initiation tool against melee heroes, at least. But with Lycan leaving lane, we see him be a little apprehensive. The supports might be nearby. He's right, but they're focusing on the mid lane instead.
And it's off.
And he will scout out that transition there of Shadow Demon coming to the mid lane. So now we see him rotate as well. Skywrath Mage has come up to just occupy the lane. He's going to get some experience since he is level 4, a little bit behind the Clockwerk since he's had the lane to himself, already level 6. And he would love to get an early hook shot. It's 70 seconds, so you need to make it count, but at 100 damage combined with rank 3 battery assault, it should mean a kill if he lands it on any of these supports.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So we see him roaming through the forest. A smoke comes online, and this is a potential kill. So we're going to switch to his player perspective and just see how he looks forward here. This should work.
How's it going?
And he goes in on the Death Prophet. And Hookshot is on cooldown, but helps secure the kill. You hear that tinging of battery assault in the background.
Incoming.
It ends up being a 1-for-1. Slark very low. So low that we see Clockwerk sit here and just kind of absorb the hits of the creeps, making sure his carry does not die. And at 9:53 we see a potential rotation. Adroitly dodging
Radiant's top tower is
that
under
arrow,
attack.
but Batrider does have his Blink Dagger and is able to hop on that. The battery assault now catching up to Batrider and starting to get a stun,
Radiant's top tower is under
and
attack.
with the help of Zeus, he's able to secure a kill. Still worth noting though, he did the majority of the damage. Battery assault doing work early on. And now level 8, we see him starting to max out Rocket Flare. It's up to 160 damage, also slightly lowering the cooldown on it, 2 seconds per rank. However, my favorite thing about it is the mana does not increase at all. I suppose the trade-off though is it only maxes out at 200 damage.
I'll take that.
Not quite as much as something like Lightning Bolt, which maxes out at 350. Mirana's Arrow maxes out at 300 damage. Ogre Magi goes up to 240, not counting multicast.
And it's off.
But we see another rocket flying, scouting behind the lane, seeing where these two supports are, trying to figure out if a rotation is coming his way or Zeus's, and he'll just go back to farming. It's the 11-minute mark. He's helped secure 2 kills with only 1 early death from an arrow. And the game is very close, 7 kills to 6.
Clear's here.
Rocketing again, down to mid lane. This time, scouting out Roshan. He's right to check.
The ladies
And now he will come mid as we see a disruption coming in instantly. Batrider falling under the tower though, and he's out.
Dire's top
Hooking
tower is
immediately
under
on
attack.
to Shadow Demon, and by the time he gets there, Battery Assault quickly going to work.
Here's steel in your eye.
And that's another kill coming his way. And with 4 heroes in mid,
Takes to kill you?
Death Prophet will fall as well. Almost killing Mirana with that.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
But Rocket Flare will be off of cooldown soon. He's maxed it out, rank 4. The 14-minute cooldown.
Boom,
14-second
there
rather.
It goes.
And he's picked up a haste rune. Rotating now with Ogre Magi. This is a very deadly rune for Clockwerk.
Dire's
Although
bottom
Hookshot is
tower
down, he can
under
run
attack.
in, and once he starts stunning with Battery Assault, Lycan only has a limited number of options for getting away. But that will be scouted out with the invisible Lycan wolves. Clockwerk not expecting to get a
Dire's
kill
bottom
here.
tower is under attack.
Instead, choosing to rocket, seeing if he can catch a transition of heroes. He's right to suspect heroes are on their way. And with the lane pushing to the tower, he focuses again on last hits. Not getting any there. Missing a couple in a row, but that's okay. It's a long game. He's 3-1. And with multiple heroes backing him up, both of his supports, there is a possibility for a gank here. But Lycan, sensing the same, keeping Shadow Demon and Batrider close by. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, if you see the last hits, Slark is having his way. Has a Midas on board. And Mirana, all she can do is just sit and attempt to soak up XP. So we see another rotation with Smoke coming out for our 2 supports, while Clockwerk is smoked himself, moving up towards mid lane.
Radiant's top tower
Their
is
target
under
is Death
attack.
Prophet,
Radiant structures are fortified.
and instead they will rotate to the top lane. With this tower very close, they would like to contest it. And they
Radiant's
do
top
hook on
tower has
to
fallen.
Lycan. And Lycan's ult, not enough to get him out of the power cogs. With the assist of the Battery Assault. Not to mention Zeus doing
Radiant
significant
structures are
damage.
fortified.
It ends up being a 2-for-2 with Batrider falling as well. And Clockwerk can port to the mid lane to try and contest the mid tier 1. Death Prophet has committed her ult. He would love to ensure this is not a free tower for her. With 6.82
Dire's
C,
top tower is under attack.
this ult is a very long cooldown now. So with Death Prophet porting back to base, I would say that's a win for Clockwerk. He can go home very happy, fill up his bottle, 1300 gold online, and start to work on that Aghanim Scepter. Meanwhile, Ogre Magi, caught in no man's land. 4 heroes here, but he almost gets the RNG needed to kill Shadow Demon. And we do see a Staff of Wizardry coming online for
Do
Clockwerk.
it with flair.
And while he's at full mana, just scouting out again with the Rocket Flare.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
His tower has fallen. It's the 15-minute mark. But his hook shot is ready.
Homing
You can
in.
see the
Radiant's
maximum
top
range.
tower is under attack.
Lycan
Dire's
trying to
bottom
position
tower is
himself
under attack.
to be a difficult target.
Radiant's
Beautiful
middle
disruption
tower
coming
is
out from
under
Shadow
attack.
Demon to de-initiate. But Slark is here.
Dire's bottom tower
And with
is
the help
under attack.
of a Zeus ult
Radiant's middle
3
tower
dead
is under attack.
for only a Skywrath Mage. Nonetheless, the fight might not have started without that very clutch hook shot.
Radiant's middle tower.
You'll notice
is
it has a
under attack.
very fast travel time. Rocket Flare a little slower, but still managing to secure a kill with it. It's the 16-minute mark. That was essentially a 4-for-1. And this tier 1 tower mid may be forfeit soon, as they deny their own. And with
Radiant's
that,
middle
we're
tower
going to take a break.
has been
That's definitely what I would consider the end of the early game, the end of the laning phase. We see both teams starting to group up. Zeus coming with Clockwerk and Ogre and Slark and Skywrath, though he was dead, for that tier 2 top lane defense that resulted in 3 kills, and ultimately 4, including the one at mid, for just the cost of a Skywrath mage. When we return after this break, we're going to see how Clockwerk continues into the mid game. Will we see more beautiful hook shots with that insane range? It's off the screen. Will we see Zeus come in with a combo and just blow up these intelligence supports, and a Mirana as well, and a Death Prophet mid, all very low HP and susceptible to magic burst damage. We'll be back after this break.